affordable housing shortage, all of this. So to put it into perspective, we have on board with us Rajeev Talwar, the Group Executive Director at DLF, and we also have today on the studio Prashant Thakur from ANAROCK Research as well joining in. Gentlemen, morning. Good to have you on the show. Prashant, if I could start with you, because you've come up with a very interesting insight firstly on the sector, to just put things into perspective, where you claim that only 29% of the total housing supply qualifies under the affordability norms. Just highlight for us what have been the findings of your report.
See, if we talk about the total launches in the first half of 2019, there was launch of close to 1,40,000. But when we filter down in terms of what government has defined as affordable housing, which is 60 square meter and 45 lakhs of ticket size, then the number comes drastically down. It's close to 29%, which is 39,000 and some odd figures. So the problem happened actually was that government has been very fluid in kind of defining the affordable housing. First, the sizes were put in place, 60 and 90 square meter, and then this pricing bracket came in, 45 lakhs. So if we talk about the launches that were happening earlier, good amount of projects in the price bracket of 80 lakhs and below, were in the range of 40%. But if you actually put this 45 lakhs cap, the number comes down drastically. So in my opinion, we need to consider city-specific dynamics. Now, for example, 45 lakhs in Mumbai or MMR would be kind of, a very, very low ticket size. It might work in cities like, Kolkata or, outskirts of Bangalore and Hyderabad, but doesn't work out for, cities like Mumbai. So in my opinion, where, I feel that the sizes of 60 square meter, which translate into, 850 square feet, works out quite well. But the ticket size needs to be increased, to the tune of, let's say, something between 65 to 70 lakhs would kind of really help the purpose with which the government is pushing this affordable housing agenda.
Rajeev Talwar also joins us, Group Executive Director with DLF. Mr. Talwar, good morning. Thank you for joining us. This is Nikunj from the Mumbai studio. Let me get your reaction going to the latest diktat or the latest rule which has come out from the National Housing, where in a sense they are telling people to not get into to really allow schemes like 9 by 10 or 20 by 80 or 80 by 20.
Yes, I actually think that yes, it's a piece of advice from the National Housing Bank that please desist from doling out money and giving out money when it is not backed by a RERA verification. Now, what that means to me personally is that a large number of people have lost money by taking money from financial institutions, whether it is housing finance companies or whether it is NBFCs and even banks, but they've given out money in advance and those buildings have not come up. So RERA is trying to, in fact, introduce a good system where they are going to get a verification every quarter that how much of the building is up, and therefore whatever money is advanced is given by stages of construction. I think that is something which is excellent, and there should be a verification of what stage has been reached before advancing money to anyone. And if that does not happen, then people stand to lose money and suffer a double whammy. The NBFC or the bank suffers a loss because they've given out the money and the building is not up. And the buyer suffers because they've taken a loan, they've got to pay the installments, and yet they have to suffer the ignominy of even paying rent. So I think in all, it's a good piece of advice. I don't know whether it will mean a blanket stop, because I don't know whether the National Housing Bank will have the authority and the jurisdiction to do so. So in my view, that is a net thing. It's a good thing, but yes, if banks follow it diligently, then they'll be put to a lesser loss.
Mr. Talwar,
hello.
When do you think the real estate sector will revive? Smaller builders are not using the word revive, they are struggling for survive. Where do you think we are in for a prolonged winter this time in all key categories? We can pick up spots here and there, you know, real estate market in Hyderabad or some commercial properties in Mumbai or some commercial stuff in Bangalore, but that's about it. These are small myopic pockets where real estate has gone higher. Rest of the India is in a pretty much acute downturn, and after this lock, one would imagine that demand will only get choked further.
You know, we are given to using such words, revive, survive. What does revival mean? Does it mean that people who used to make money hand over fist? I think housing prices should stay normal and should stay steady. And that is that when you start making buildings in a surplus supply, the moment it is a surplus, your rates will come down, they will stay stable. And if that is meant, that's already happening. People are creating a surplus and people are telling, well, we have a surplus. In fact, that is what needs to be done. We were always in the habit of creating shortages, whether it was by officials, whether it was by politicians, or whether it was even buyers who wanted that, yes, there should be a shortage by the time they book and they should get a 2x return by the time the house is delivered. I think those kind of things are not available either in any market, whether it is stocks, whether it is commodities, whether it is bullion. And nobody thinks of buying a house and saying that, yes, I book a house and get a 2x return by the time it's delivered. That was purely a creation of shortage. So I think there is a good market, like you said yourself, whether it's in Mumbai, whether it's in Bangalore, whether it's in North India, NCR region, wherever there is a steady surplus which has been created, prices are stable, people are getting returns in the long run, and the normal time and the normal window is anywhere between 10 years to 2 decades. People should expect a return on housing from that and a steady rental income, low rents. There should be a steady rental policy. So I personally think that people are struggling to survive when they've taken over-leveraged their own.
You know, Prashant, we're going to try and patch Rajeev once again because we've got him in a very poor audio line. Like we were just discussing as well, the sector is in the grip of a serious slowdown. What is the solution?
See, there are a couple of things that we need to keep in mind. First of all, you know, India has a national demand of housing. At one point of time, we are talking about 2 crores of housing shortage in urban areas. On the other hand, we are talking about 650,000 of unsold inventory. So somewhere, you know, demand is there, but, you know, historically we had pushed wrong product in the market. You know, either the sizes were too big, or let's say, you know, these projects were more suited towards investors. Now with the slowdown coming in and the investor kind of really abandoning the market, I would say speculators kind of, you know, abandoning the market, the genuine home buyers, you know, are a bit confused because what they see is a huge pile of unsold inventory, construction not moving up, and, you know, the price is also not going up anywhere. So in my opinion, to kind of restart this cycle, the government needs to ensure that the stalled projects, or let's say the delayed projects which are kind of stuck for quite a long time, which is kind of casting a negative sentiment in the market, needs to kind of restart. So government needs to kind of, you know, give some kind of, you know, refinance window to those NBFCs or let's say financial institution, so that the projects which are at the last stage of construction gets completed and, you know, people starts to get possession of their house. So in my opinion, that would create a positive sentiment in the market, because see, this is a typical buyer's market. But having said that, nobody wants to take that execution risk. So you know, it's you know, we all know that RERA is in place, but we have seen that RERA has kind of, you know, been passing on judgment, but since it has no enforcing power, the ground results are not that much you know, favorable. So people are still kind of you know, facing the severe issues of delay, the developers not honoring its commitment. You know, even if the RERA has passed a judgment to refund the amount, the buyers are still waiting for it. So in my opinion, a strong intervention in terms of ensuring that these delayed and stalled projects get completed would kind of give some kind of kickstart to this sector.
How much, I mean, it's a very unscientific way to judge what is the unsold inventory and what is the fresh capacity. If I drive on the streets of Mumbai, I see construction activity just about everywhere. The area where I live, the area we all live. If I go to any other major metro, there are new projects which are coming up. One side we are talking about a glut, more inventory, and then it foxes me when I see that the builders in Bombay and the builders in Delhi and the builders in Bangalore are adding more capacity. What is going on?
See, to be very honest, if you look at the number of launches, so at our peak in India, if I talk about the top 7 cities, we were launching close to 5,20,000 units per year. We are down to 1,90,000 this year. So there's a huge cut down in the launches that we were doing. So, I would disagree. We are kind of, I would say 60 or 65% down from the peak that we used to launch. And the launches that you're seeing right now is more focused on the affordable category. But again, having said that, the demands have been really very slow in spite of, all those affordable push and noise that we have been seeing. The infrastructure is not coping up with the affordable projects that are coming up. If a developer has to launch a project which, is defined as 45 lakhs by the government, he needs to be, going outskirts, in the extreme outskirts of the cities.
Fair point. Is there a change in the way how Indians would be buying and consuming houses? For example, the Uber economy has changed the way how an urban millennial would be traveling. I mean, the decision to not buy a car is something which is very normal. I know so many of my friends, they earlier used to own a car, now they don't own a car. Parking is a problem, driving is a problem, there are a lot of other hassles. Are we reaching that very big dramatic change in society, at least at the millennial level? The first belief all of us had when we were young, that you get married and you buy a house, it's security.
Yeah.
I don't think that holds true now. Is this a large change in pattern, and this will have a very long-term impact on the way how the housing patterns would emerge in India?
In fact, we are actually seeing this trend playing out in the broader market. So, the way the job markets were fluid, for example, the mobility of the workforce has gone 5 times if you compare, 10 years back. And nobody wants to take a long-term commitment at especially the millennials. So you're right, this renting economy is gaining traction, and that's the reason you would see, the co-living model, or let's say, co-working model is evolving in India at a major space. So, the real estate, or typically the residential real estate, the demand would be there, but the consumption pattern would change. You would see many players coming in the rental space, and, now we have, the government kind of laying down foundation for the rental policy at national level. So the consumption of residential real estate would see a distinct change, not necessarily just from, owning point of view, but players coming in, buying the bulk inventory and kind of, putting it in a co-living model. So that way the yields are also on the higher side. So I think this shift is happening as we speak.
I'm going to just quote a stock market pattern here. The real estate sector is in a downturn, but real estate stocks, the good ones, are at an all-time high, with the exception of DLF, Godrej Properties, or for that matter Shobha, Prestige, which has got funded because of GIC. 3 years from now, 5 years from now, what will happen to the real estate sector? 5, 10, 15, 25 builders, that's about it.
Yeah. So, if we talk about the current development, we are kind of seeing a phase where massive consolidation is happening. So in our opinion, I guess, as we speak, close out of 10 developers, 7 would have already been disappeared. So you're seeing a phase of consolidation where the big will get bigger. And people, as I said, that they want to avoid execution risk, they would stick to bigger names. So you would see few national level players dominating the scene, and you would see the kind of appreciation that you're seeing in the stock prices, the kind of inventory they're selling, they would be on the rise in the coming years.
All right, gentlemen, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for coming in, Prashant. And of course, we also had Talwar as part of the discussion. That's the latest when it comes to real estate. Let's also now